Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, put the kettle on and let's talk some boxing. Tea or coffee if you would prefer. Now, Anthony Joshua has travelled over to the US to meet up with David Beckham, and obviously David Beckham has his own football team that he is putting together called Inter Miami, and Anthony Joshua has travelled over there. The interesting thing about this is AJ is looking to have a fight with Tyson Fury. That deal has been signed, but there is no date and there is no venue agreed for this contest, so that needs to be sorted within 28 days of that contract being signed, otherwise that goes away. So they have kind of given themselves only 28 days to do this, and they wanted to put that pressure on themselves to ensure that the fight was made for around June or July. Previously it was supposed to be June, but it looks like now it will be more like July. And I do believe that Eddie Hearn's next job is to go and find us somewhere, so maybe he will be doing some travelling around to different territories to stage this fight, because a site fee must be put up for wherever does it take this fight. Now, America has been mentioned. There have been other mentions like Asia and the Middle East. Saudi Arabia seemed like the most plausible option, but it could go somewhere else. I mean, Eddie Hearn even talked up the idea of still staging it at Wembley. So that is a possibility, but a slim one still. America doesn't seem possible to me just because the fact that Bob Arum explained it would take place a late evening time in the US. Are the US going to want to pay a site fee to get this fight? Then have it around 5 o'clock in the evening in the US? They might do, but still, I would imagine they would want it prime time for them, which would make it around 4 or 5 in the morning for us in the UK. And these are two Brits fighting for Undisputed. It should be primetime UK. So there is the possibility it goes to America, but it would need to cater to a UK time zone. Again, them putting up a site fee would want it primetime US. So can we perhaps conclude that Anthony Joshua has gone to America to discuss having the fight there? Well, Eddie Hearn is the one with the job to go and find a territory. Anthony Joshua is the one who's doing the fighting, but he is involved because he does work towards making these fights happen, and he does work closely with his management team at 258 Management because he has many fighters also under that banner. Now, could the fight say go to Inter Miami or their stadium for this contest for Undisputed? I would say that's unlikely, but still possible, just really unlikely. Eddie Hearn is going around looking at different territories. Is Anthony Joshua over there to do that? That is a possibility. Maybe he has just gone to visit the stadium whilst he is there. Obviously at the moment in the UK we know you're not allowed to travel just for holidays or anything like that. You have to travel if it is essential. So there is obviously something work related behind the scenes, we just don't really know what it is. Might not even be important to Undisputed, but considering that fight, or the date anyway, is creeping up. I know they don't have a concrete date yet, but they wanted the fight in June or July. That will soon be creeping up if you think about when the fighters need to start training camps. I know they can start anyway, but they need to know what date they are working towards, because being a pro athlete, they need to be able to peak at a certain point. So it is important that they have the date and they have the venue as well, because then they can adjust their training camps to suit that. They can train, of course, but they do need that date to work towards. I do believe that the MLS football season is actually starting in America very, very soon, kicking off around, April 18th, I think, or at least that is when Inter Miami have their first match. I was going to say fight then as well, I was going to say that's when they have their first fight. It's because of all this boxing talk. And yeah, they're having their first match on April 18th against LA Galaxy, and David Beckham has been trying to take big names to that club. And he has even talked up the idea of signing players such as Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar. So he is trying to bring big names to that club, already taking names like Kieran Gibbs, Ryan Shawcross and appointing Phil Neville as head coach. You have no idea how many times I nearly said fighter when I was supposed to say player, but anyway. Yeah, so he's taking those kind of names to his club. So perhaps it's kind of like a media thing where he wants Anthony Joshua there, because Anthony Joshua can bring big numbers. So if he wants to kind of launch his club and make it a big name, then he's going to get bigger stars within sports to go and sell his brand. And perhaps that is why Anthony Joshua is there. I do like the thought of it perhaps being related to Undisputed, that they are going around looking at territories, but I'm not a big fan of it happening in the US. No problem with the US at all, I just think it should be in the UK or Asia, maybe even Middle East, I just think it needs to cater to a UK time zone. Even if it was in America, that should be one thing they do not move on for sure, because it is two Brits in Undisputed, so that should be the one thing they do not budge. And we do know that after the Dillian White versus Povetkin rematch, that Eddie Hearn was going to be going around looking at territories, because I don't believe they have much time left. I think that they said they signed contracts like a week or two ago, so they only have a couple of weeks left to sort that out before the contract is void because of that 28-day period. So they need to get a move on, they need to make some real moves towards making this date and venue secured if this fight is actually going to happen. The best thing about it is Anthony Joshua does not have a plan B, and I don't believe Tyson Fury does. He might do, but if there is no plan B, then it seems like Undisputed is the only option. Obviously, AJ does have a mandatory in Alexander Usyk, and Usyk has been ordered to fight Joe Joyce, although Usyk is closely monitoring this undisputed situation between Fury and Joshua. So if there is any chance that he can slip in there and fight Anthony Joshua instead of Fury, then he's going to try and do that. So it does depend how long these negotiations go on, because Usyk might start pushing for them to call their mandatory, especially if things continue to be drawn out with regards to negotiations for this fight happening. I mean, Usyk wants his world title opportunity, he wants to remain active also, and there are stumbling blocks with Joe Joyce, so it's not easy for them to agree to make that fight happen. And with that fight being on pause at the moment, it seems in some ways, with negotiations anyway and agreements being made between both the camps, and with Undisputed almost stumbling coming out of the blocks, struggling to make a date and venue for this fight, you have to wonder, when is Usyk going to start saying, hang on, if this fight isn't happening, can I not get my world title opportunity with Anthony Joshua? They had the exception, they had the step aside, but the fight still isn't being made. So at what point do they say, okay, just to fight Usyk? There is going to be some point where that happens, because let me tell you, if Undisputed does not happen now, then it's not going to happen at all. Just because of the fact that they've had the exception from the WBO, no mandatories with the WBC. Wilder situation, Tyson Fury does not have to rematch him, so everything seems like it has come together, so Undisputed can happen. That won't happen again. I mean, look how hard it was before to try and get even Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder in the ring. I know that Wilder wasn't really keen on the fight, and he publicly admitted that, turning down more money to face AJ so that he could fight Tyson Fury. But still, look how hard it is to get in this kind of position. If it doesn't happen now, I don't see this fight happening at all. Just because of all of the things that need to come together to ensure that they can make this a fight. And that has happened this time. If they miss this opportunity, how long is it going to be again before that comes around? And in a minute, Usyk is going to want his opportunity and the dominoes will start to fall, making it very difficult to ensure this fight. Having said that, it seems like Eddie Hearn's next job is to sort that out, and that is what he will be doing and pushing towards in the coming weeks. AJ is currently out in Miami. I don't believe that that could be related to Undisputed, but then again it could be. I mean, having the fight at Inter Miami Stadium, that is a possibility. The more likely explanation is he is over there promoting Inter Miami ahead of their new season for the MLS, I believe they call it, the American Football League. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.